Let's update Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. He says a deal with Mexico and Canada could be announced as soon as this afternoon. Listen to what he told Larry Kudlow.
So what do you think the president's going to do? He's going to come out today angry that Americans are still being killed. Now, both the Mexicans and the Canadians were on the phone with me all day today trying to show that they'll do better. And the president's listening because, you know, he's very, very fair and very reasonable. So I think he's going to work something out with them. It's not going to be a pause, none of that pause stuff. But I think he's going to figure out, you do more, and I'll meet you in the middle some way. And we're going to probably be announcing that tomorrow.
Well, announcing that tomorrow. We caught that one there. David Bahnsen with me this morning, meaning today, by the way, of course. This is what the market wants, isn't it? Some kind of, not a pause necessarily, but a pullback from the brink of an all-out trade war.
The market wants that, and I would add American importers want it, economic actors, consumers. It's important that we do not go to an all-out trade war.
I'm surprised that the market isn't reacting more positively to what Lutnick just said.
I think some of the reason of that is that we've been getting kind of pulled around in all directions. Remember, the market hadn't responded much to the idea it was coming back until it really did on Monday. Then the bottom fell out Monday, Tuesday. I don't think markets know how to respond right now because there's such a difference between what's being talked about and what happens. So you got to kind of wait for the real meat on the bone.
Wait for the announcement. That would be good, wouldn't it? I think we're taking a gamble here. We've got inflation. That's not beaten. The economy is slowing. And we've got a trade war. From a market perspective, that's not good.
And I just want to point out for listeners, it's not just markets, because you and I are in here talking financial markets. It's the whole economy, wage earners, jobs, economic growth. All these things matter. And the president has a real good series of policies to help in that regard. But he has to lead with those things because tax reform isn't done either. And that was one of the major issues of the campaign. We need tax reform, and right now the economy there's enough precarious stuff that I totally agree with you.
Okay, got it. Stay with me, please, Dave. David Bahnsen's still with me. I'm going to ask you to get political for a second, David. I know you love that. What did you make of Trump's messaging last night?
Well, look, the only negative thing I'd say is how long it went. You know, you kind of think it's going to get more punch if it's a little bit shorter. But as far as what he was trying to do, it was very effective. And he hit the right notes, and then he used the Democrats as props because they allowed him to with their behavior. So that really added to the effectiveness of President Trump's messaging, that they would sit there and sit on their hands for some of those moments. I'm old school. I still value decorum, and I just don't understand it. It's not politically effective for them to behave that way.
All right, David, stay there, please. More for you later.
I think Trump made the case last night when he said the CHIPS Act was horrible. Why are we giving all this money away when I've just proven to you in the last week that I can get Apple and TSMC to come and invest here on their own and spend their own money to make America a great manufacturing country again. We don't have to be doing the giveaways and spending government money.
He's going to repurpose that money, I believe, isn't he?
Maybe.
So he said. He's going to give it to Speaker Johnson, say, spend it wherever you like.
Oh, how about pay down our debt?
What do you think to that, David Bahnsen? You've got
they have to repeal the CHIPS Act because it was passed by Congress, so it's law. But that's certainly what they should do. Absolutely.
Yeah, good stuff. Time we got back to Bahnsen here, who always brings us dividend picks. And today, he's brought a dividend pick of a company that I am invested in, Blackstone.
You are. I got you invested in this many years ago. It's been a very profitable position. And we've talked about it a lot on the show. The reason why I brought it back, even though we've talked about it so much, is after being up on a tear for a long time, it's had a little sell-off here recently. And I think that's a great opportunity for investors to buy one of the great companies in America at a lower price than they could have bought it a month ago. They've grown the dividend 10% per year for 13 years in a row. It was at $22 when we bought it. It went to $180 a few weeks ago. $150 now, still has a yield that they will end up this year paying out over 3.5% on the current price, but they grow it every single year.
That's good enough for me. I'll stay invested. David, thank you very much indeed. Quickly, back to David Bahnsen. I want to talk about tariffs. We've got the Lutkin sort of suggesting there's an announcement coming this afternoon. Lutnick, I'm sorry, in this afternoon. The market's responding. Good news?
I hope so. I think the markets kind of know that there is some talk because they've told us that it's negotiation. The markets get worried, Stuart, when they think that they really want ongoing trade barriers, that we're going to somehow protect American workers by having taxes on American importers long term. If it's a negotiation around fentanyl and other things, markets can see through that. But this week gave markets a little reason to question what's going on, and there's different messaging from administration. Lutnick's indicating something that could be positive.
Good stuff. David, thanks very much for joining for the hour, too.
Yes, sir.